Welcome to Yeshiva Daf Shir sponsor Nishma Saim Yaakov Sholem and Leah Basitzchok. We're holding in Basra Daf Chavov. Chav Zayin. Holding Basra Daf Chav Zayin. Starting at Chavov and base in the two dots towards the end of the Amud. And we're going to have a little bit of geometry in this daf, as we had in Maseches Eruvin and Maseches Sukkah. So if you have a tree which is planted within 60 amo of another property, so the tree is yoinik, is nurturing from the other property. So it's considered to be that it's not his. So therefore it doesn't bring bikurim from that tree. Why doesn't it bring bikurim from that tree? Having a big machlokes, rishonim. The Rashi brings, and that's what Tais agrees, he doesn't bring in, not necessarily because he's a gazlan, but because you have to say, Bikurim needs to be your land. It's not your land, you can't bring it.
You can bring it, you can't say the Pesukah.
Yeah. There's no chiyuv. But according to, Tais brings a Rid Chananel that says that it is gazlan, because he's a gazlan. So Tais says, what happens if he's not a gazlan? What if he does it because he had a rishus to put the tree so close? They bring Bikurim or not. According to Rashi, still don't bring Bikurim. How do we know this idea of the 60 dam? Because we learned. So this is one of the halacha l'moish we seen as that we learned. That when you have a field that has 10 trees within it, so before Shemitah, you could go and plow the entire field. Why? Because the young trees, the tears over here, the young trees, if you don't feed them, they're going to die. So we allow them, Chazal, based on the Torah, allow you to go in and water the field until Rosh Hashanah. And we don't do the extra time that you do before Shemitah, we do in other plants. Now, how much can you do for the trees? What is the trees? If you have 10 trees in a Beiseya, you could do the entire field. What does it tell me? That for 10 trees, I need a base sale. How much is a base sale? So Rashi uses the math of those days. But actually, our math makes it easier. Because what is a base sale? 50 times 50. What is 50 times 50? 2,500. So per tree, how much is it? 25. 25 square feet. Square alma. 25 and 25. Rashi goes on because he didn't have the squares. So he does it by one.
That's in the tears. 2,500.
Yeah, that's the so 250. That's 250. Your 2,500 is SNTs. So each Tia is going to be a 250 square ammo. 250 square ammo. Rashi goes on to say there will be one long ammo. It's 250 per. So more says, what do you have over here? So if you have an SNTs, you have 10 young trees within the Beiseyo. Chorshikol Beiseyo Bishvilon Ad Rosh Hashanah. Chorsh do Rosh Hashanah. How much is the total? Train a lofi v'chamesh bo garmiti. It's 2,500 amos. The kol v'chad kal matilo. So divide that into 10. How much each one has? Matam v'chamishim. It's 250. Halo yavi de ulo. That's not ulo, because ulo said 60 by 60. What is 2,500? What is 250? So if you let's make it the other side, what is 16 times 16? You understand that 16 by 16. 60 by 16 comes out to be. Rashi does the entire cheshbon.
264.
What?
254.
No, 60 by 16. Let's do our calculation. Take a calculator. 60 by 60 is 254. Sure. Maybe. Let's see. 256. 256. And here it says 250. So it goes a little bit more. The truth is that that's 256 total of 32 by 32. And here I have 250. Right? So Gemara says, Ulo is more. Rashi has a whole cheshbon. Rashi goes on to say, if you go and make it a long ritzua, what will that be? It's going to be here's the mistake. Here's what I'm saying mistake. The mistake is, it's not 60 by 16. It's 16 to each direction. It's 32 by 32. Much greater. How much is 32 by 32? Is 1,024. That's what Rashi brings over. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says, Halo Kedula. The shirul nofish. Tamin ilan yonik shesh say lekol tzad. Every side is 16. Hari lamed base, alamed base. So he goes to do one long, which is really means square amo. It's 1,024. So you have your 1,024. You said enough to have 250. So who is much more? Says the Gemara, I have a dulo. Element is not. Well, you know what? I have to learn differently. Maybe young trees is a little different. Let's take big trees. Could be young trees, could be a big field, maybe the field where all the trees are together. I'm going to take now 3 old trees, Ilonis is an old tree, of 3 different people. So when you have 3, even though it belongs to 3 different people, Koloshka belongs to 1 person, you can plow the field, the entire Beiseo until when? Until Shavuos. Anybody who learned Shvis in the Rishonim learned it, that if you have grain, you can plow, you can take care of the field until Pesach. If it's a tree, it's until Shavuos. What defines it as a tree field? 3 trees between Beiseo. Okay, now go back to Beiseo again. What's Beiseo? 50 by 50, 2,500. Says the Gemara, Kama Havolu, Trey Alfi, Vehim Yogamiti, 2,500 Amo. The Kol Chad Kamati, divide 2,500 into 3. What's going to be? 800. That's 2,500 divided into 3. And it's 833 in the third. So Akati Nafir Shil Ulu is much more. Ulu is 1,024. You're only 833. Says the more Loidak. You know, we're not didactic. It's not exact. It's about we're doing a cheshbon of base sale. He comes and rounds it up to 32. It really has to be less. Tais goes on to the cheshbon to say how much it comes out to be, because maybe not such a big difference when you're doing the square footage. Because if you take out 833 and which is square, you figure out how much is it on its own, because it to be close, pretty close. So we ended up a little bit. It says the Gemara, here you're going, here the kula. Why? You're saying that you're not yoinik as much, right? Rashi says, it's not really, the roots are not going so long. They're not going so far. They're going only what comes out to be a square foot of 800 and change. And you're saying goes up for 16 for each side, which would be 32 by 32, which is 1,024. It means that you're quite different Bikurim. So the Gemara, I'm not talking about a square. When you have a tree and you have 60 down to each side, it's not 32 by 32. It's 32 by 32 from the middle of the tree, but not to the sides. It's not a square of 32 by 32. You take the tree, you make a circle around the tree of a 32 amo in diameter. What? So it's less.
Get rid of the corner around the square.
Not around the square. It's inside the square. Inside the square. You have a tree in the middle, so I'm not doing a square around it, I'm doing a circle around, which is less. How much is less? Says the Gemara, how much is a square more than a circle? So according to the cheshbon of the Gemara, it's a reveal, it's a quarter. So you take a quarter out of the 1,024. Pashalu zaynil v'shiti v'tamya. So it's going to be 768. Because they make it times 3 quarters. 768 exactly, right? So that's 3 quarters of 1,024. Akashi Pashli Pagodam. It's still, it's not 764, because according to Ula, goes out to be 833, which comes out to be a half amma. Why is it half amma? So here you have very long cases that brings, I think, 5 explanations why half amma means more in the distance. Meaning, we're talking about 32 by 32 comes out to be 833 and change. How much is, so if you do half hour less, 50 hours, 50 hours, how much is 31 times 31? And 61. How much is 30 by 30? 900. It would be 900. So the Gemara comes out, Rashi goes on to explain why it's going to be half amo. He says...
It's the only one I can do in my head also.
So he says, what does it go? He says, Rashi goes on to say, oh, Cheshbon, you take the ritzu and you cover it around the tree, you put more and more and more. How much goes it to be? It goes to be another half amo to each side. Because it really goes to be 60 amo and a half. That's what he wants to say. If you look at the beginning of Rashi, Kamru Beis Ha'igul, Dar Via Melech Fechada Aposhto Shtach, Perechara Kadosh V'Shur Da'ashta Poshto Shur D'Mastisir Du'ulo Palga De'amto. They are half an hour more because it's 33 by 33. Do 33 by 33, as Rashi says. That's 1,089. And we said that Ulo, because that was square. And they said the Ulo is 1,024. So it comes out to be, it's about a half hour more. Toys goes on to give a whole explanation. We have 5 explanations in Toysis, how much goes out to be. So the Gemara is coming to say it's not exact. Ulo is a little shorter. Says the Gemara, you're right. Really, it's loidak l'chum, meaning he mechayev someone who's 60 amo away from his field to bring Mikurim, even though it really has to be 60 amo and a half. It's to be a little bit more. So first we ask, what's like how you bring Mikurim to the Beis Hamikdash? You bring it to the Mizbeach, bring Chulin Lazar, it's not really Mikurim. So Gemara says not a problem because you always can add a Bikurim. If you really have Bikurim, you can add it. I can bring a regular fruit and say this is Bikurim. But if I already have Bikurim and want to add it, then you could do. So the Gemara says, that's how you look back to the Chumra like that. So the Gemara says that's the Cheshbon. Now just to mention one thing over here, the Gemara says that a Ripua is more than an eagle a quarter. How do we know that? We know that from I'll say the word with trepidation, with false calculation, as the Mefarshim point out. Why is it false calculation? There's 2 reasons why it's a false calculation. Number 1, the Cheshbon goes like this. When I have a diameter of a circle, how do I give you a diameter to the circle? According to the Gemara, you multiply that by 3. If I have a square, how much, I want to know the hekif, the circumference of the square, I multiply that by 4. So you see that the eagle is only 3 times, while the square is 4 times. So if I have 1 amma diameter, for a circle, it's times 3. For a square, it's times 4. So first of all, that's not exactly true, because it's not 3, it's 3 and change, 3.14. Not exact change. Number 2 is that that's good for the circumference, not for the area. The area can be very different. So that's a false calculation. That's already the Mefarshim point out. Someone to say you're right, and Chazal knew that, but when you're doing a square, which is exact square, in a circle, it does fit, so we say that even though it's not exact. Because just to keep things simple. But it's an aura on the Gemara. Okay, let's leave it with that. Segmo Toshma. According to Elo, said that's all we have the calculations. Because this is what now it's saying, Toshma, according to Elo Nikakol, Mivi Vikoire. Someone who purchased a tree, and the land, he brings Bikurim, means Koire Beis Hamikdash. My love, Kolshu, that's right, even a little bit of a land. Even though it's yoinik for the other field. It's like more lo yudvav amma, which means 60 amma. He needs to have a land 60 amma around it. He purchased 2 trees. He brings bikurim, he doesn't, without saying. Hashlo, he should be bikurim. My love, koshu. Hashlo, even a little bit of land, as long as you have 3 trees. You have to have the yuvam around it. Because the pshat is when you do 3, you purchase the land, automatic purchase the land together. Even the smallest land is chayv b'peyo. Peyo we know you have to give a little bit of the tour to the ani the corner. We be koyim to bring the Beis Hamikdash. The koyim will appruzul. What's koyim appruzul mean? That we don't do a pruzul. We don't have a loan to pruzul unless you have a land, because the takana pruzul that we say by shmita is only for common loans. Most people don't lend to somebody who does not have a land. Here's one of Chazal base. And you can do kinyan or metaltim agav the karka. So that's what it is. There's a gift to the Rashi that says also vidui. You do vidui over here. Now Rashi says there's no vidui in Sheni. So that's why it's incorrect to say it. So he says maybe there is a vidui, but there's a gift also you need the karka for that. But anyway, you see the smallest karka is already obligating you bikurim. Hi, it's yoinik. It's coming nurturing out of the land. So talking not a regular tree, talking about wheat. Wheat is also bikurim. Because bikurim is all shiva sabini. So they can have the ketani kol shu, even the smallest amount. Even if you say a tree needs something. If you want to tell me the exact, if the tree needs nurtures underneath it, but the tree is more than kol shu in the land. Shravina, you still talk about one kernel of wheat, it really doesn't take much space. So Gemara Toshma, Elon Miktsosoi Bar, so Miktsosoi Bechutz, you have a tree, standing half an acre to show half an chutzarts. Tevel v'chulim u'rovim zebazeh. So you have over here Tevel and chulim together, which means you have, because the tree is growing in Eretz Yisrael, which makes it Tevel, and it's growing chutzart, which means the chayav and true samaisus, and growing chutzart doesn't have it. That's what we said. No. The right side of the tree, which is in Eretz Yisrael, is chayav. The left side of the tree, which is in chutzart, is butter. What's the pshat? They all agree that the tree is both Eretz Yisrael and chutzart. The shaila is when I see the fruits on the right, I say, oh, that's nurturing from the right side, and the left is nurturing from the left side. It's a breiro. Like you find out, it's like almost a retroactive. You find out, even though everything goes together, whatever comes to the right belongs to the right, whatever comes to the left belongs to the left. You associate with that. It's called yesh breiro. Also, being breiro, I say once I can't come to the right goes to the right, the left goes to the left. But if it grew in Ptur, everybody agrees that it is Patur. Even though it's nurturing from Eretz Yisrael. Even though the tree is right next to the border. Talk about there is a rock, a stone, who's stopping between it, it makes it not that the roots cannot go from one side to another. Yachi, my time at the Rebbe. So why is Rebbe saying that they're both, that the whole thing is murav? It's called the Hadri Arvi. Afterwards, the tree joins together. But once the bottom it was separated, so that each, it's as if you have two trees over here. Sorry. Once it comes into the ear and it's connected, so it's mibal, but it's all connected. Each one stands on its own. Okay, so that's the Gemara. That raya the Gemara slugs up. It says the Gemara, it's only 60 ram. We learned earlier. It's 25 ram. You have to take away the tree from the pit. No, it goes 25 ram. The roots can go very long. But only for 60 ram, it's nurturing from the ground, taking away from the power of the ground. Not more than that. He quoted it a little differently than we said before. We said, the one who said this whole thing we started today is Omar Ulo. Says the Gemara here is Shlokish as a Birchna. If you have a tree next to the border within 60 ram, does it bring me kur or not? First of all, it's a gazlan. Second, maybe bikur. According to Rashi, the bikur has nothing to do with the gazlan because that is. Doesn't matter if the tree is next to the border or it's tilting on the border. Maybe bikur. It's one of the conditions Yeshua gave. Yeshua gave up the Rambam lists 10 of them, 10 conditions. That's part of the deal how we divide the land. Yes, the tree is right next to the border. Really, that is, you give him the right, so to speak, for the land for bikurim. According to Trace points out earlier, according to Rashi Shita, that we're not talking about exelu. It's not my land. It is your land for the purpose of bikurim. That's one of the conditions that Yeshua put in Eretz Yisrael. So the Mishnah, you have a tree tilting into the field of his friend. So you have to cut out the mardeo, is what's called milamid bokers, the machine that you put on the cow, on the ox. Make sure the ox goes in the right way. So you have to do that on top of machrish, on top of the plower, which means it's when you want to plow, you have to have enough room to move there. If the tree is blocking, you can cut it up. When you have a carob or a what's it called, a sycamore tree, connected the mishkos means you go straight up, because that's what they used to measure up. They put a mishkol, put a weight that goes down, make a straight line, because the weight falls down, you know exactly a straight line up. Based on shlachim, which needs a lot of weighing, you have to cut the entire yulun connected mishkos because you need the water. If it's an elon strak, doesn't bear fruits, so it doesn't ruin it for taking out of the tree. You're not ruining taking away fruits. You cut off straight up. So when you buy a shol, a reishikai or a seifikai. So a shol talking that what he says, what is it coming to argue? He's coming to argue about the ratio and saying what? That the Kama said that you have to cut everything, elon strak, everything you have to cut. Milar Mardek, Sevchar B'Shikmo. Rabbi Shol says also elon strak, you do connect the mishkol. Or you speak about the Sefer. The Sefer says the base of Shlachim you do kol elonis, connect the mishkelis. Rabbi Shol says no, you do only elon strak. Only it's going to be mekel. If you speak about the ratio, it's going to be machmer. Speak about the Sefer, it's going to be mekel. So you buy Rabbi Shol a ratio kai to be machmer, or a Sefer kai to be mekel. Tosh Shol Tani base of Shlachim, referring to the second part. You cut the whole thing. Shade is bad for Beis Hashlochim. So clearly he agrees with the Sefer. You see, he's talking about the ratio. He's arguing the ratio to be more machmir. Because also meduk from Mishnah. Right? What is it? What is the losh of Abba Shol? Kol ilan tzrak kedei mishkrios. Bishmar ratio kai is going to be machmir. You're saying only sycamore and carob. He says, no, every ilan tzrak, that's the everything. It's going to add more. Hai diktani kol ilan. Elion, what the Sefer Kai is going to be mekel, it's going to say, no, don't tell me everything. Only ilan tzrak you do. Ilan tzrak you buy, not kol ilan tzrak, are coming to reduce the amount. You see from here, it's because of the ratio, another deal from the Mishnah, they talk about the ratio, except the Bryce that says it clearly. Zog the Mishnah. Ilan shu noite lu shusarabi. Now you have an Ilan who's tilting to shusarabi, not to a field of his friend. You need to allow a camel.
Leaning or noite or.
Oh, very good. So let's see. We're always going to talk about it. You have here, you have to have a gomel with a rider to go through it. No, it's a gomel with carrying flax or zmoiris, which is a piece of wood. You have to cut straight up because of tumah. What's a tumah? We'll see in the Gemara what the tumah means. Meaning, what are you doing? You're cutting it right now as much as a camel can ride. Yeah, but it's going to grow back. You have to cut it more. So maybe cut now more. No, I cut whatever I need right now. I don't cut based on the future. You don't dig down in Shusarabim because it may collapse. It may cause the people to collapse. As long as right now a chariot could go through it with stones, so I don't care that eventually it's gonna be ruined and you have to fix it. It's Rabbanan will agree over here. Here it's underneath the ground. So sometimes you don't have enough support and nobody knows about it. And someone can get hurt. Here, every time there's a branch growing, you cut it right away. It's right in front of you. So we have no problem to do what is right now, and we'll cut more when we need. You take a camel carrying a load. Who's greater? The gamel v'rochbai or the gamel ton pishta? So pshita the shur the rabban nafish. Of course, the Rabban is more. This guy shur the nafish. Rabban shur the If you want to tell me that a camel with a rider is less than a camel with flax, so what will happen if you have a camel with flax crossing the street? You have a tree blocking it. So Helama, he said, of course we're gonna for the load. Of course they have. But I want more. I want enough to carry the rider. So what is more? I have what is going to do with the camel and the rider. So the more what's truly said before, if he can lean down. So clear, what is the Gemara saying? This is what Rabban's changing. Rabban's saying if you have a camel going and the man sitting up straight, that's what you need. So no, I don't need so much. Enough for the load. As long as the load can pass by, even if the rider cannot sit straight, I don't care so much for the rider. He can just put down his head and that's okay. So because of the tumor, so I have to cut the tree straight up. Tano, we pay oil tumor. So oil tumor. Right? says the more pshitim b'nei tumah tonight. It says tumah in the Mishnah. So what is it coming to tell me? Ima sizav amina dilun maisi oirev tumo v'shadi osom v'sagi b'dechluli b'almo kamashma. So let's see what it means. Let's see Rashi. Rashi says, what is it going to say? Maybe there'll be a mace next to the tree. The problem is, I have over here a tree, I have branches, and I have a branch, and I have a mace underneath the tree. Someone will pass by, same branch, you're over the tomb. That's the problem. Says the Gemara, oh no, so why have you told me that it's oil tomb? Because I would think maybe the problem is that ravens bring a piece of a mace on top of the tree. Oh, the other tree is not a problem. Why is that a problem? What's a chulu be'alma? Just cut off. Just make it a little less thick. Have a little air in between. So if there is a piece of meat, it will fall on the floor. So Rashi says, because of many branches, they're going to go underneath it. If that's all your problem is, just take out the middle branches, make it a little less crowded. That's the chiddush. Even one branch is a problem. Because the problem is the tumah beneath the tree, not that the tumah is sitting on top of the branches. That is the chiddush. That's what Rashi learns. Taisus learns that the chluli means, how do you say it in English, when you have they put it in the fields, a person.
Scarecrow.
Scarecrow. The scarecrow you have over there, so the birds are not going to come. They're not going to come over there. But sometimes he's going to leave it over there. So according to Rabbeinu Hananel, I'm saying if your problem is the bird coming on top, if you have a scarecrow, it's not a problem. The bird's not going to come. So no, but somebody's going to leave a piece of meat over there. That's what it says in Rechanal. So according to Rechanal, the problem is the meat on top, not the meat on the bottom. The Rashi learns the problem is meat on the bottom. If it will be on top, just make a little ear, it's okay. According to Rechanal, the problem is meat on top. Even a small branch, maybe you can hold the meat. But I would think that you don't have a problem because the scarecrow should be enough. Chiddush says no, oil tumah is always a problem. Not that you change the case, just telling you don't think you can solve it in a different way, but cutting the branches. So the Gemara tells us you have to cut all the branches in order for the tumah not to cut, not to do oil tumah. This we end the second parak on the Seches Bava Basra.